Welcome everyone back to my YouTube channel. If you have been following me along the last couple videos, you can see that this is kind of a scenery change. So I'm trying to do something a little different as far as the scenery. Let me know if you like it in the comment section. But you clicked on this video because you want to understand exactly how you can pay a credit card off the right way. And you hear a lot of different things on the internet from people saying
you need to pay twice, you need to pay on this date, on this date, on this date.
But honestly and truly, it's a lot more that goes into that answer that is personalized to each situation and each person. So just by watching a YouTube video that gives you one specific date on when you should pay, that might not be correct for your own personal situation. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can find the right date for your personal card so you know which dates to pay on and which dates you need to know that will help you pay off your card the right way. Let's get into it. Okay, so for all my new viewers, my name is Tommy Wright, aka CEO.T Wright. My thing should pop up somewhere over here. But I am a credit specialist. That's what I call myself. I am well endowed in the credit space, the credit industry. And that's as far as business funding, personal funding, and then just credit in general. And I like to make these YouTube videos because there's a lot of people that ask me, the same type of questions about how does credit work, how can they get started, what they need to do to get their credit score to grow. So I created this channel just to help people that have general questions just about how credit, business credit, or finances as a young entrepreneur, how it all works and how it can help you later on in the future. But for this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how you need to pay your credit cards off. And I know you probably heard a lot of different ways from different people on the internet, TikTok, whatever. But this is the sure way that you personally can pay your credit card off the correct way. Okay, so what you need to understand first is that there are two important dates when you're paying off your credit card. There's your pay date. Your pay date is basically the date that the credit card company has set you to make a payment. This can be the minimum balance, this can be however much you want, or this can be the full balance of the statement. So all your pay date is just the day that you're supposed to pay on the card that has been issued by the creditor. Now your statement date is the date that your statement or balance is basically screenshotted and sent off to the credit bureaus and held by the creditor saying this is the balance that you owe. So the way that your statement date works, it's over a period of one billing cycle. So 30 to 31 days is one billing cycle as far as a credit card is concerned. And at the end of that 30 days, whatever balance that you still have on that credit card is going to be screenshotted basically by the creditor and sent off to the credit bureaus that report your utilization, that report the balances of your credit cards. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say your utilization, all that good stuff, check out my introductory video about how to grow your credit score. It'll basically explain all of that in more detail. But the balance at the end of that statement period is basically going to be sent off, and that's what's going to be reported. So if you have a balance of $1,000 at the end of your statement date, for round numbers, let's just say your statement date is on the 20th. Your statement date is on the 20th. So on the 20th, what happens is the creditor will screenshot your balance and send it over to all of the credit bureaus or the credit reporting agencies. So your Equifax, your TransUnion, and your Experian. They will report how much of a balance you have on these credit cards. So then they'll factor in and report your utilization rate for that card and for all the cards that you own. The reason why those two dates are important is because 9.99999 times out of 10, they're never in sync. So you have one date that is the pay date, and then for round numbers, let's just say that's the 10th, and then you have your statement date, and let's just say that's the 20th. So you're required to pay on your pay date, which is going to be the 10th. You're not required to make a payment on your statement date. But remember, this date is the date that everything gets sent off, not your pay date. So the only thing that your pay date is concerned is with your creditor, that you paid off a balance. But the things that are getting reported are on your statement date. So the reason why you need to understand these two is because if my pay date is on the 10th and my statement date is on the 20th, what does that mean? If I pay my whole balance in full on the 10th, from the 10th to the 20th, I can rack up charges, because I'm still going to use my credit card throughout the month. So I'm racking out charges. And by the 20th, let's just say I have $1,000 reported on my credit card. Let's say I have a $2,000 limit and I have $1,000 reporting. That's a 50% utilization rate. By the 10th, I paid my card off to zero, but from the 10th to the 20th, I put on another $1,000 on my credit card. For the 20th, is going to report to the credit bureau saying I have a balance of $1,000. So a lot of people think like, hey, I just paid off my credit card on the pay date, but that's not the balance that gets reported to the credit bureau. That's going to be your statement date. So that's why it's important to know the two different dates, because this date is the one that's going to be reported. So that's why a lot of people will say, hey, pay twice in a month. And it is wise to pay twice in a month, but you have to understand the dates, because if you're just randomly paying twice in a month, it means absolutely nothing. Like, you might miss the date. You know, you need to understand what's the pay date, what's my statement date. And a lot of people already know their pay date, but you need to know your statement date. And the way that you figure that out is you go to whatever app that you use, whatever banking app that you use. So if you got a Capital One card, if you got an Amex card, go to the specific card that you have, and then usually they'll have PDF statements of your statements. So on the statement, you want to see what date is on that statement. So if your statement says like July 1st, then your statement date is on July 1st. So you know which day they're sending off the screenshot of what your balance is. And this is what I tell people to do to fix this, or how to only make one payment but still only report what you want to be reported. So usually with credit card companies, you get 1 or 2 moves each year, and you get to move your pay date to whatever date within the month that you want to. So you can call, let's just say Capital One. You can get Capital One on the phone, and you can say,
hey, I want to move my pay date from the 10th to the 18th.
I like to tell people to move it 2 days before their statement date, is because it takes about 1 to 2 days for charges to pin and then post on your credit card. So if you were to put it on the same day as your statement date on the 20th, and you paid it off on the 20th, and then they screenshot it on the 20th, it's still pending. So it probably wouldn't post until the 21st, 22nd, but by that point they already screenshotted your stuff and sent it off. So you want to do it 2 days before your statement date. So call up Capital One and say, hey, I want to move my pay date to the 18th, which is 2 days before my statement date, which is the 20th. If you pay on the 18th, then guess what? You'll be reporting a 0 balance on the 20th. So now your utilization does not look high on your credit report, which can allow your credit score to grow. And in a lot of cases, it can allow it to jump up because you've been keeping balances on your credit cards every single month. It's been reporting as a utilization rate that you did not want to report, all because you did not understand the 2 dates. But all you have to do is move the date 2 days before the statement date and pay it one time in 1 month, and you'll be reporting a very low utilization rate, or even 0, just depending on how you want to pay off your credit cards. So that's how you need to pay off your credit cards to make sure your score continues to grow. And it's an easier way. Instead of trying to do the pay twice in a month method, you just move the dates together, and then you'll be able to pay it one time, and it'll be paid off in full. As always, I appreciate you guys for coming in and tuning in and gaining some knowledge. If you do not mind, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and drop a comment of any questions that you guys may have about credit, because I do look at my comments daily, and I also do videos that answer some of my comments that I feel like the masses need to know. So like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.